Hi everyone, Tiernan here from Key Catalyst. Welcome back to the Marketing Doctor. Today we're going to be talking about the number one reason why most offers plateau and how to fix it. Coming into this session, we are assuming that these are not the problems. So we're deliberately here talking about offers that plateau. So this isn't about getting a new offer up and running. This is about an offer that's already had some sales. You've clearly got some product market validation. People are already giving you money for your product or service. It's clearly good. People are getting good results from what you're promising them, but for some reason your sales have plateaued and you don't know why. So again, we're assuming that we don't have a problem with our ideal customer profile, meaning we're selling to the right people. We don't have a problem with messaging because you spent enough time working on that, and you don't have a problem with pricing because again, the market has already told you that your pricing is fine. So let's have a look at what the problems typically are. What I've found from working with over 50 brands over the past few years and focused quite heavily on revenue generation when it comes to their marketing and sales. When an offer plateaus, what typically is the problem is one of the following. So I used to talk about this very much just as a traffic or conversion problem. What does this mean? So you have traffic or conversion problems. A traffic problem means at the top of your funnel, there are not enough people who are aware of your offer. So you've got fantastic offer, loads of people buying it, and then all of a sudden no one's buying your funnel anymore. So could it be a traffic problem, or is it a conversion problem? Conversion problem being somewhere along your funnel you're not moving people from the top to the bottom. And why not? Typically a conversion problem might be more seen at the bottom rather than at the top. So again, if just for people who are new to all this marketing talk, you've got a funnel that essentially acts as a triangle. You've got top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. People are here near the bottom are almost about to buy, so you're very close to a sale here. People at the top are just coming across your brand for the first time. If you have a offer that has plateaued for some reason, two things that you want to look at is, am I getting enough people in at the top of my funnel, and am I pushing people through my funnel appropriately? So if you're not getting enough people in at the top, we'll come over here and we'll call that a traffic issue, and we'll talk about different ways that you can solve that. If it feels like loads of people are coming across your landing pages, loads of people know who you are, loads of people are entering your funnel at the top, but people just seem to keep dropping out here or dropping out here, or they're getting on a call with you, and after they get on a call with you they don't buy, and you actually haven't changed anything with your offer from people who previously bought, then the problem might be a conversion issue rather than a traffic issue. The third point to add in here, super important point that I've only recently started to really recognize the importance of, is a data issue. A data issue is the thing that helps you decide whether you've actually got a conversion or a traffic problem. There's two ways that you can have a data issue. So you can have basically not enough volume if you've just launched a new offer, which is not the case for this video because we're specifically talking about offers that have plateaued. But if you've just launched a new offer and only 5 people have come across your landing page or you're gotten on a call with you, then you've got a data problem. You have no idea where the problem in your funnel is because not enough people have come through it. If you have, similarly, your data problem might be that there's loads of people coming into your funnel. You're making hundreds of calls, loads of people are landing on your landing page, but your data issue here is that you haven't been tracking. So you haven't set up Google Analytics appropriately, you haven't set up UTM tracking appropriately to see where people are coming from. So you've got a funnel that was functioning at one point, but you don't know why it was functioning because you don't know what your best traffic sources were. You don't know where people were coming from. You don't know where the best people were coming from. You have ads running, you're paying for Facebook ads, but you don't know what return you're getting from your ads because you're not tracking any of that. So this is the most important problem to solve. get all this set up, once you've got your data problem dealt with, and for some of you this will be essentials, for some of you like me not so long ago this is something quite brand new that you're just coming across for the first time. With a data problem, you can then go on and solve a traffic or a conversion problem. Let's deal with a traffic problem first. I like to think about a traffic problem in two different ways. So in a traffic problem, you either have not enough people coming, or you've got enough of the right people, but they're just not. Let me rephrase that. You've got enough people coming to your page, but they're not the right people. So either you have not enough people coming to your page, or loads of people are coming to your page, but they're not the right people. This is an easy problem to solve if you've got a traffic problem where people come to your page, they seem to be the right people. Some people buy, but you've just plateaued because there's not enough people coming. This is now just a traffic generation problem. All you have to do is manufacture traffic, because relying on your organic traffic resources has not worked. So you want to start running ads on Facebook, you want to start running ads on LinkedIn or Google. Preference is typically running ads on Facebook, just because often on Facebook you get a lower cost per lead. It's a good one to start with before you start dabbling with any other ads platforms if you or your team have not run ads before. So you need to manufacture traffic. It needs to be inorganic rather than organic. So you're going to go pay for some money to have some ads. There's other ways that you can do this as well. You can increase your public exposure by going on podcasts. You can go do some in-person networking. The reason why I jumped to using ads is purely through a predictability point of view. If you run ads, you can within 1 or 2 days start working out what your cost per lead is. You can start working out what your cost per click is pretty reliably, and then work to drive that down. Whereas focusing on inorganic methods is probably what got you to this stage in the first place, where you don't have enough traffic. The other thing to consider is if you are already really leveraging your organic audience, meaning you've already got a large social media profile, you're already really big on LinkedIn, you're already getting loads of visitors to your website, then you might just not be telling them what to do. So are you making it really clear what people should do at the next stage of every step of your funnel? And this then also will link into conversion problems. Before we talk about conversion problems, let's deal with the other aspect of a traffic problem. So traffic problem where people are coming to your page, but those people don't seem to be buying in the same way that they used to. So we're going to assume that the people coming to your page or landing on your product, service, offer are not the right people. How do we deal with that? Two things. One is we go back and review ICP. So you'll remember at the very beginning we spoke about how we assumed that for an offer that was already working, that your ICP was working. It doesn't mean that when you initially made your offer, that your ICP was wrong, but what can often happen is you do a lot of ICP work at the very beginning of your campaign. What that means is really getting to know the person who you're trying to sell to. You do all of that, and then you kind of start building out campaigns, start building social media profiles. You bring in someone external who starts getting involved. You bring in another team member who gets involved, and actually by the time that you get to the bottom and start deploying things online as marketing assets, your ICP has completely changed. So what you basically want to do is run through every single aspect of your funnel and double check that the ICP that you're targeting feels heard and feels listened to and feels targeted in your messaging. It might not mean that you have to change your original ICP. It might just mean that your original ICP has been lost and you need to go back and make some changes. A really powerful way of fixing this problem alongside that, so going back and reviewing your ICP and making sure that messaging is clear. What I like to do is really get clear on who my offer or service is not for, and make that clear in my funnel. So I'll make that clear in my copy. So I will literally have tables that say this is not for you if. If you have a product that only targets people in a specific area, make that area clear. Say that you don't target people outside of that area. You have to bear in mind that every time you have a person come through who you don't want to come through, you're paying for it. You're paying for that click, you're paying for that lead, you're paying for that call. So exclusion is super important. You want to exclude them in your copy. You want to have automatic exclusions. So you have them fill out type forms. You have them where automatically, based on their answers, there's no way that they can get through. And again, if you've got a funnel that runs to a booked call, before they book on for a call with you, again, be super clear on who it's not for, so that if they feel like they're one of the people who it's not for, they won't book that call, waste that money, waste your time. The kind of bonus thing that we can do here, if we're not getting enough people through that are our ICP, we're getting lots of people through, but we're not getting the right ones, is you can imagine if you've got a funnel like this, some of the people coming out of the bottom are a good fit, and some of the people coming out of the bottom are a bad fit. Let's say it's like booked calls or people purchasing on a landing page. What you want to do is take all of those people who are good, and if you don't have enough data, you just go one step up. So people who apply that seem to be a good fit, for example. You take all of those people who are a good fit, if you're running ads especially, you feed them back into your ads platform to tell Facebook, to tell Meta, these are the people that I want to see more of coming through my funnel. That's something that's a bit more technical and also a bit more concrete. So the idea with ads, if you're running ads, again, we'll just go on a slight segue here. If you're running ads from the get-go, you've got this period at the very beginning where it's like a learning phase. Your Facebook ads and your Meta ads will start trying to learn. As they're trying to learn, every time you get a winner through, you basically take the winner, feed it back into the learning process, and then the idea is that the next winner will come quicker again, the next winner will come quicker, and every time you get a winner, meaning someone who books a call with you, someone who matches your ICP, you keep feeding it back in so that the learning process slows down. Meta isn't trying to find people from everywhere because it's now looking for the people who you're telling it to look for a bit more closely. So let's move on to a conversion problem. If I can make the pen work. For a conversion problem, what does a conversion problem mean? You don't have a traffic problem. Lots of people are getting to the top of your funnel. People know who you are. Fine. But you have a conversion problem and you didn't used to have one. So previously your offer was working, people were buying, and now for all of a sudden they're not. First thing to diagnose, and this goes back to a data problem, has anything changed? It sounds super basic and super simple, but you really need to focus on whether things have changed or not. Alex Hormozy talks about how a change can cost you 20% just for testing. If you've changed price, if you've changed how your sales calls happen, if you have changed how your offers are made, or you've added something new into the offer, these are all fundamental changes that will greatly impact whether your offer is working or not. So first of all, decide what has changed, because that's often the thing that's going to be the problem. Second thing, if everything else is the same in terms of your traffic, you feel like you haven't changed very much, what you need to do next is assess every stage of your funnel. So we've decided that the problem is not up here because we're getting enough traffic, and if that is the problem, we already know what we're going to do to fix that. We've already worked that out. So what's the next stage of the funnel? It's how we push people from top of funnel to middle of funnel. What that basically means, super simply, is how we get their details. So how we convert them into a lead. Up until someone, this can just be a social media follower. You don't have their email address, you don't have their phone number. This could be someone who attended an event that was free to enter, so you don't have their phone number, you don't have their email address. As soon as people get here into the middle of the funnel, they are leads, so you've got their details. Is the problem that you're not getting enough leads so that there aren't enough people who get shown your product at this point, or are able to book in for a call, or able to apply for your services? Is that the problem? Have you not developed enough of an audience that you can then push to get their leads? That can be the audience. You might be trying to push people from here down to here, so you've got a conversion problem. You're not warming, you're not nurturing your leads enough to push them down. How do you solve that? You can do a few different things. You can run events online or in person that require sign up. You can make people pay for them as well, but you need to get their email address from that. You then need to nurture these people, and the events can also act as nurturing. But what nurturing typically looks like is email sequences, newsletters, mailing lists. The full purpose of this aspect of the funnel, let's say from here upwards, is value based. The whole time when someone is in this stage of the funnel, you're trying to provide them with as much value as possible. The important distinction between the top and the middle is that in the top you don't have their details, so you're just providing value on social media and hoping some people see it. In the middle of the funnel, it's people who have already opted in. They've recognized this person is giving me value, I want to hear more about what they say, and it's your job in the middle of the funnel to give them so much that they then start thinking, whenever I have the problem that this person solves, I would like to go and purchase from them. You can also use lead magnets here, giving people free stuff in exchange for their information, so that whenever, again, they've got the problem that you solve, they'll come back to you to have it solved. Last thing that we'll talk about for today. If your problem is at the bottom of the funnel and you've got a conversion problem, the two things that I want to look at, the two big stats I want to look at, are how many, and this is where it gets slightly difficult if we're on a product versus if we're on a service. If we're on a service, I want to know how many offers are being made. The person who makes the most offers will make the most sales if you're in something service based, especially if you rely on a direct to call to sale funnel. So how many offers are you making? If you're making one offer every 2 weeks, you're not going to make any more than one sale every 2 weeks. If you're having 10 calls and only making one offer from those calls, you're not making enough offers, or the people in the calls are the wrong people, and we then go back to a traffic and an ICP issue because it's the wrong people coming through. Next thing is, and this is what we started to talk about in a traffic issue, are we clearly making it obvious what we want the person to do on the next step? This is broadly from a funnel perspective, so if you zoom out entirely. So I've got this school community called the Marketing Doctor. I'm also really active on LinkedIn. As a whole, I need to make it super clear that when people land on my LinkedIn, I want them to land on this page, because then I'm going to offer my services at the end of the video, or as a module on its own. People are going to be able to work with me. So that's the macro. Am I making it clear what my customer journey is each step of the way? And on the micro, when I post on LinkedIn, am I talking about this community? That's an easy way to think about it. On the macro, is it easy what your customer journey is if someone wants to give you money for the service that you provide? On the micro, at every step of the way, are you making it easy for them to see what the next step is? If your funnel relies on someone booking a call, but whenever they get to the page that they have to book a call, it takes 3 seconds to load and you ask them 10 questions, you've probably got too much friction for them to book a call and they don't know what the next step is, or they do know what it is and you're not making it easy for them. I think we've covered enough for one session. Again, going back to the top, the number one reason why most offers plateau and how to fix it. The number one reason is you've probably got a data problem. The data problem then will highlight whether you've got a traffic problem or a conversion problem. Hope that was useful.